Hey, and thanks for joining me. Today I'm sharing with you my thoughts on the Black Diamond Sprinter headlamp. This is another product that was sent to me by backpackers.com that they asked me to review. So if you would like to read my beautifully written review on their site, you just go over to backpackers.com and they just posted it. So anyway, a few things that I mentioned in that review are some features about this headlamp. Basically, the first thing, so mainly it's meant for day hikers or I should say night hikers, really, and street runners. Couple features about it are, first off, it has this really bright 200 lumen focused beam, a white beam in the front. Which is programmable and adjustable for all kinds of levels of brightness. It has a really great button on the top that has a great tactile feel. It can be tilted like most headlamps, not all headlamps on the market though. And it has this little dimmer tap on the side there. So basically you can program two different settings of any two levels of brightness that you want for the head beam, or for the front white beam, and then you can easily switch between the two of them, like a brighter one, like a super bright one, and a dimmer one, by tapping this side button. Couple other things about it. It also has on the back side here, this is the part that's mainly for street running. It has one of these red LED lights on the back side. So it has 3 bulbs here, and it has its own button as well. And there's a few different ways that you can configure this. So basically you can program it so that the red taillight goes on and off with the front beam, or you can program it to go independent, to turn on and off independently. And there's 3 different settings for this back red light. There's a constant red beam, and then there's 2 different speeds, a faster and slower speed for the flashing. And then just below that, I don't know if you can see that, there's a little tiny light just below the beam there. And that is a little indicator light that tells you both how charged the headlamp is when it's in use, and then when you're charging it, it tells you if it's already, like, if it's not yet charged or if it is already charged by using a different combination of like colors and flashing sequences and stuff. And then for charging it, it has this little USB port over here on the side of that back battery pack, and you just plug it into a micro USB into there, and then you plug it into a wall or whatever. It's kind of cool. The battery will last on the highest setting. The battery will last 4 hours, which is definitely enough time for any trail run or most night hikes and stuff like that. Certainly most street runs as well. One thing that I'm not crazy about with the battery pack on the back, well, there's a couple things. One is I feel like it's kind of a regression to the early 2000s, when the market used to, before LEDs were really mainstream and it was mainly halogen lights. This is kind of the old school setup with the battery pack on the back and this like top strap over the head. It's really good for keeping the headlamp well balanced, between the front and the back, but it makes it a little bit more clunky, and then you have this cable between the two, this electric cord, which is just kind of a, it's probably going to be fine, but it's just another potential failure point for the electrical, aspect of it. But also in terms of like the rechargeable battery, it doesn't have any kind of removable battery. And so if you're on the trail and the battery dies on you, you really need to carry like one of those mini phone chargers and the USB cable to connect it. And you have to figure out how to rig it so that you can plug it into the side of this thing while you're wearing it. You can't just pull out the old battery and throw in a fresh one, which is unfortunate, but it's okay. And I really like the color scheme and everything. I'm into blue these days, and I always like charcoal too. And one other thing that's a little bit of a grievance for me about it is that it doesn't seem, I think because of the fact that it has the USB port, micro USB port and all that, and this whole electrical cord thing, it doesn't seem to be fully like sealed and waterproof like many of the other headlamps on the market. So it's certainly supposed to be enough waterproof for, you know, running in the rain and whatnot. But I wouldn't accidentally like drop it in a puddle or something like that. It might not bounce back from that. And yeah, overall, it's a really good headlamp. I do really like it. Like I said, it's great for trail running and, you know, night hiking and street running and stuff like that. Oh, one other thing that I wanted to mention that I really wish it had. So, you know, it has this red light in the back, but it doesn't have any kind of red light in the front, which is good for like reading and you know, like reading notes and map reading and whatnot when you're, you know, out in the dark and you would rather not lose your night vision. You can just flip on a red light. If I wanted to make use of a feature like that, then I would have to actually like rotate this thing with the red side on the front and then, you know, use it like that. But it would be a little bit nicer if it had you know, a little red light on the side, you know, on the front next to the white beam that I could use. Apart from that, it's a great headlamp. It's nice, and I'm happy I've had the chance to test it out. I've taken on some really epic night hikes, and it's been amazing, and it's really, really bright. So, anyway, thanks for watching. Feel free to post comments and all that stuff, and subscribe and like and the whole bit. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Thanks for watching.